Hello, and thank you for checking out this video series, Working Smarter, Not Harder. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about the most important thing you need to know in order from going from stress and burnout to ease and flow. Now, I approach this topic of burnout and stress from a place of what you can do to make change, because, there are environmental factors that at play, right? There's a culture that you're working within. However, you have agency. You have a way that you can respond to situations that can help you. Because one of the most important things that can help you ease your burnout and your stress is to understand that it's not the circumstances that are causing your burnout. It's the way you are thinking about your circumstances. Now, let me just say that again. It's not the circumstances themselves. It's not your boss. It's not the deadlines. It's not the demands. It's the way you're thinking about all of these things. And so it's the way that you are operating as a result of how you're thinking about them. Now, that might seem either too simplistic or maybe just plain false, but let me just explain a little bit more. You see, everything that we're experiencing comes through thought. We're really, our minds are really these giant filtering machines. And so we're constantly taking in data, we're constantly taking in stimuli, and we're processing them. So everything is getting processed through the mind. And then what we're doing, and this is all happening instantaneously, like so fast that we can't even imagine. But so we're processing data, and then we have thoughts about it. We have thoughts and we create meanings about it, and we have feelings related to the thoughts and the meanings that we're creating out of what's happening. So a circumstance in and of itself is actually neutral. A deadline is neutral. The boss, no matter what the personality of the boss might be, the boss is neutral. The work culture is neutral. But what you're doing, the way you're interfacing with all of these things, is that you're filtering, processing, thinking about it, making meaning about it, and having feelings about it. So, I'll use the boss as an example because, there are those, let's say, mean-spirited bosses that we've all had or that we've all known. And they seem like they're trying to make people's lives miserable. And maybe it's because they're miserable, but doesn't matter, right? If they're trying to make your life miserable. But the thing is that usually there's someone in the office who's not affected by that person. They let their words roll off. They don't let them get to them. Sometimes they even find them amusing, or sometimes they even get along with them, and it's just because the way that person or those people are responding to the boss's attitudes and behaviors is that they're not choosing to let them bother them. So that's an example of how the boss may not seem neutral, but the boss's attitudes and behaviors are actually neutral until you add your own thoughts, feelings, and meaning to the situation. Now, this simple premise can be applied to anything in your life. And why this is so important is because if we start to actually look at it, we might see that we are resisting things, we're fighting things, like fighting our situation, resisting our situation. We're making up a lot of stressful storylines about our situation, and then we're feeling that way. And so if we can actually start to see that circumstances don't have to create certain thoughts within us, thoughts and then feelings. If we can start to see that, then there's actually more room in there. There's more room for different experiences. There's more room for a less stressful experience, or for a more neutral experience of things. So Again, I would say this is probably the most important thing you can understand about burnout, what's causing burnout and chronic stress. It's that it's not the circumstances, it's the way you're responding to the circumstances. Now, if this sounds like victim blaming, that is not what I'm saying at all. What I'm trying to invite you to do, though, is to simply look differently at how this process works. And also to just start to ask yourself, are there different ways that I could approach these situations, whether it's the boss or the coworkers or just the noise or the deadlines? Are there possibly different ways I could approach them? Is it possible for me to relax my mind about these things a little bit or let go of some of my stressful thinking about these things? So that's the invitation. And I welcome you to give it a try. And if you're still not buying it, well, then I invite you to continue to watch future videos in this series, because I will continue to unpack and just add some tips to how you might be able to incorporate new practices into your work life so that it's not so terrible. Thanks so much. I'm Ruth Chadwick. Have a wonderful day.